Hey, this is Brian Wright. It is the Coach's Corner. It is May 12th, 2026, the day after I posted my UFC 328 report. And after posting some clips, I have come to find out that I am an old, hairy vagina that doesn't understand anything. I'm a nobody talking about somebody, and my opinion doesn't matter. I'm very glad to know that. It is informing me going forward. I guess I need to clean up the vagina, and I guess I have to make myself somebody. I don't know. Whatever. The internet's always going to internet. I'm actually not upset. You guys can keep commenting. I really appreciate it. You're driving up my engagement. My views are going through the roof. This has actually been a very good 24 hours for my channel. Now, let's talk about what people are getting upset about, and let's bring some reality and some clarity to this situation. Look, the truth about Chimaev is brutal. I've been trying to be, I guess, semi-nice about it, but now the gloves are off because people are overlooking some realities to this situation. Chimaev is backed and publicly a supporter of Khodorov, the warlord, dictator, strongman, murderer that's in charge of Chechnya. I am not anti-Chechen. I am not anti-Muslim. I am anti-warlord, dictator, strongmen that murder gay people, that allegedly are arranging marriages between grown men and children. Now, I have a gay brother. I would not be able to sit across from him during holidays and support Chimaev because he's a good fighter and overlook his associations. I have a sister that was a teenager once, and it would be very hard for me to have a conversation with her if I was accepting of a guy that allegedly has accepted a teenage bride from the warlord dictator. There are so many things wrong with Chimaev's relationship with Khodorov, and anyone that has a relationship with Khodorov that takes his money, takes his cars, takes his houses, props him up to be the strongman because it personally benefits them. There's so many things that are wrong with that. Yes, I understand fighters coming from poverty that are riding the wave of their fame. They're trying to make as much as they can in the sport, but to, I guess, sell your soul is the easiest way for me to put this, in exchange for shiny objects or some level of comfort you're not sure if you can get otherwise. Man, what does that say about you? And that's why when I say Chimaev is a bully, he's shown all the characteristics of being a bully in sport. I am a coach for the vast majority of my life. I have competed against bullies. I have trained bullies. I know how bullies operate. And Chimaev operates exactly textbook bully behavior. Now, the entitlement side of it, this is not a D1 athlete who went to college on scholarship and then has a little bit of a chip on his shoulder because he's been taken care of by the system. This is a guy that was exiled from his country, went to Sweden, built a life for himself. And then once he became good at something, was offered a lot of money and exposure in his home country by a war criminal. He took that money and that exposure and went back because he wanted to be celebrated. This is an entitled behavior. He is being entitled by the leader of a country to do the things he's doing and to behave the way he's behaving. This is not, again, D1 entitlement. This is way beyond social misconceptions or weirdness of American politics and culture. This is actual global political stuff. This is a real murderer backing someone, and this person propping that guy up. When Chimaev won the belt at UFC 319, he went to Chechnya and gave it to Khodorov, who then held it up as a symbol of the greatness of his regime. This is not a normal situation. This is not some weird stuff that's been said. This is a man that is accepting money and status from a war criminal. That's why I take the stance I take. Because if my brother went to Chechnya, they would throw him off the top of a building. And again, if my sister in her teen years went there and Chimaev saw her and said, wow, I like her, she may get a black bag thrown over her head and wake up at a marriage ceremony. This is the problem that I have. And anyone that is going to make excuses for the man, that is going to be supportive of him, you are complicit in this relationship. Just because the guy can fight or can wrestle or anything that aligns with what you're trying to achieve, and you're going to overlook everything else just to get a little bit, you're just as bad. You're being complicit. you're using him and his negative connections to further your stuff. So I guess I'm being critical of the people that choose to train with him, the people that make excuses for him, for the government that figured out a way to get him in the country, and for the organization that is propping him up and letting him fight in it. Sure, he brings eyeballs to the table, he puts asses in seats, and it was a great story, the wolf versus Strickland and all that kind of stuff. But the wolf in this room is really Khodorov. That's the truth of it. You have a Chechen warlord who is very, very involved now in MMA because he's backing a guy that is now the former middleweight champ. This is not left versus right. This is not, hate speech and all these weird cultural arguments that we get into. This is actual global geopolitical currency here. This is stuff that we in the United States do not truly understand the impact of at times, where we are looking at this and on a surface level going, it's two men being locked in a cage and we're going to find out who the better fighter is. But the reality of it is it's two men that have representation of different groups that get locked in that cage. And then depending upon how they talk going into it, how they perform in there, what they say and do afterward is going to be used by specific people to further their agendas. And you could say I'm looking into it too much, but you're wrong to overlook it like that. Sean Strickland is being used to further an agenda that is clickbait nonsense material. But Chimaev is actively being used by a leader of a country to prop up the murderous behavior that he has, is what it is. So shit on me all you want, get mad at me for having an opinion, say I don't understand the Caucasus, call me a hairy vagina, it's all good, but it doesn't change the reality of the relationship. It doesn't change the fact that Chimaev has a car and a house and a bride provided to him by a warlord dictator, allegedly or basically reported in every media outlet that has access to the information. So I'm not making this up. I'm telling you what has been reported by every organization that overlooks Chechnya and its behavior. It's why Khodorov can't leave his own country, and the only friend he has in the world is Putin and Chimaev. So if I'm Chimaev and I've just lost, man, I'm panicking because I have a brutal dictator who could disappear me if he doesn't like how I responded. He put the belt around Strickland's waist. Man, that may have been a big personal mistake for him because they want him to be the wolf. They don't want him to be a good sportsman. And no matter what Chimaev might be personally on the inside, he's accepted gifts and a lifestyle from a warlord and a dictator. That goes to show you who he is. And now he stands for it. Begrudgingly or not, he is the symbol of Khodorov and Chechnya in the state and the condition that it is today. So again, I'm just going to keep pounding this out. It doesn't matter what his fighting ability is. It doesn't matter if he's a cool guy to train with. The guy is living off the paycheck, not of the UFC, but off of Khodorov. And UFC is using Chimaev to further their own interests. They had a massive showing on Paramount. They had a ton of people tune in for the weigh-ins. I think they had more people tune in for the weigh-ins than they do for an average fight night. The drama was there. It was good business for the UFC, but from a personal standpoint, it was horrendous support for a bad guy who's being funded by a bad actor and represents the worst of us. MMA is the best and worst of us at the same time. Chimaev right now is stuck on the bad side. I don't know him personally, what's in his heart, but I do know what's in his associations, and I do know what that empowers, and I don't stand for that. I will speak against that. And you can say whatever you want about me because of it. Tough shit. There's a lot more to this world than fucking fighting. And my brother and my sister and the safety of other people is paramount to me. It is way more important than who wins or loses a fight, or what your religion or your faith or your bullshit that you're putting in the way and attaching to what we know is the truth to make yourself feel better about your choice. Come on, people. This is nonsense. We have a guy who's murdering people for having different beliefs than him. That could impact us. This is crazy. So yeah, I'm not a Chimaev fan. I'm not a Chimaev supporter, and I'm always going to root against him, and I'm always going to talk against him because it needs to be said. And we do have to understand that if we support him because he's a good fighter and we overlook the war crimes created by his benefactor, we are complicit. So shit on me all you want. You're driving my engagement. I would normally say peace, but today I say fuck you.